part of the Republican Party.
That's right. Former Democrat, former liberal.
Yeah.
I was a liberal Democrat my whole life.
Is that because the bag has got so intense and so heavy that you had a whole nother, you up there with the elite now?
Not even close. Not even close. Democrats don't care about black people.
Okay,
and they don't care about people. They don't care about people of color. And the Republicans do, and that's the misconception.
And you know what? I agree with you 100%.
Thank you,
People
Nick.
don't know that the Democrats is the party of the KKK.
Yep.
People don't know that the Republicans are the party that freed the slaves.
Yep.
I mean, both of you and I have some conservative views. You just a little bit more outspoken about it than I am. And I don't subscribe to neither party. I rock with W.E.B. Du Bois when he said there's no such thing as two parties. It's just one evil party with two different names. So
yeah, I mean, look, I listen, I'm not married to any party.
Right.
I voted for Donald Trump because we had two options, and he was definitely by far the better option for us. And as of now, I agree with a lot of things that he's doing.
Cleaning house.
Yeah.
He doing what he said he was going to do.
Guess what? If there's a time where I don't agree, I'll say I don't agree.
Yeah. We got the Gulf of America now.
Period.
Charging, he's like the club. He's charging a $5 million bottle service fee to get into the country.
I know. Listen. But guess what?
Next up. All right, so that was basically what has caused Nick Cannon to be on the hot seat, and of course Amber Rose. I mean, they treat her like she got leprosy. They treat her like she got the stinky leg. They can't stand Amber Rose. Same thing with Nicki Minaj. I mean, if you are a woman, Amber Rose is mixed. I don't know what she is. Looks white, but I don't know. It doesn't matter. The Democratic Party own you. I don't know where Amber Rose gets off thinking that she could be a human being and make her own decisions. You can't do that in America. You can't do it. You know what? I never see this from the right wing. Like, I never see Republicans excommunicating people that voted Democrat. They kind of just go, stupid, and they just keep it moving. They don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, when are people just going to admit the Democratic Party is very much a bully? But let's get into it. Let's unpack it for real. So Nick Cannon's outspoken. He says, hey, obviously this is about Nick Cannon. We already knew about Amber Rose. Hell, she spoke at CPAC. We already knew Amber Rose, how she felt. But see, that's the whole thing. Nick Cannon brought this topic up. So that means Nick Cannon wants to make the issue an issue. He was willing to have a conversation. He's willing to put it out there. He's literally driving the truck. He's literally leading the conversation about how she voted. He already knew she was a Republican. So he wanted to voice his opinion. So I want to give a big shout out to Nick Cannon for just being a black man with guts. It's so rare to see it. Because we know it's a price to pay. It's a price to pay to be a black man and to speak against the Democratic Party. We know that. And if you doubt it, if you want to say whatever you want to say, just go look at this social media right now about Nick Cannon. But I want to, for once and for all, fam, I want to just say, let's clear this shit up about the Democratic Party and the KKK. Okay, so I wrote down a couple things because we always talk about it. It keeps coming back. It's like a turd that just won't go down. Every time I turn around, someone's bringing this up, and it caused a conversation that people keep having to have. And I want us to be done with this conversation. I want at least for the people that are watching, I want you to know empirically, all straight up, no chasing, what the deal is. Look. Yes, the Democratic Party was the institutional home of the KKK. Full, no stop, bam. Bam, there it is, no breaks. Democratic Party, own it. I'm tired of y'all trying to slide away in your slides. Tired of you trying to skirt away in your slides on this issue. You were the party of the KKK. Period. He's right. And the Jim Crow in the South for nearly a century. That's what it was. Now, did the parties undergo a switch? It wasn't like a light switch. I think the term switch is the oversimplification of the reality of the situation. Gradually, there was a realignment on race and civil rights in the 30s to the 80s. This is why Black Americans started voting Democrat. The realignment is why the Democrats got a black audience, because of civil rights. Prior to the civil rights movement, Black Americans unanimously voted Republican. Unanimously. But in ushering in the civil rights movement, what happened there with Lyndon B. Johnson, what happened there with Black America was we had to go with what was best for our priorities. And for our priorities, the Democratic Party seemed like the more viable option. The realignment began. There was no switchback, okay? There was no switchback. Today's partisan map reflects that sorting. So for the record, Cannon's historical points are solid here. He ain't lie. He's telling you the straight up truth. He's talking historically, it's empirical, it's quantifiable. You can look it up. Stop listening to nonsense on this issue. The Democratic Party was the party, the home of the KKK. It was the home of the the Jim Crow South. Yes. And then there was a realignment. And Republican Party moved towards segregationist policies, and Black America, for the most part, moved towards the Democratic Party. And when I say to the most part, I mean to 90%. Over 90% of Black Americans vote Democrat. And it has been that way for 6 years. So, but see, my thing about this is I want to get to the point where we're not just talking about the past. Let's talk about the present. And that's where the big dogs come out. That's when the big guns, you need the big guns. And now this is where we get down to brass tacks, because I don't much care about the past. I'm living in now. For 60 years, Black Americans have been voting with the Democratic Party, and I think it's time for a new realignment. I don't know if that realignment means you got to go with the Republicans, but it damn sure means you got to realign with yourself. We have to center ourselves and look at the policy once again. Not the policy for Eskimos, not the policy for new immigrants, not the policy for the LGBTQ community. And I know there's some LGBTQ that are Black Americans. You are Black first. You are Black first. That's where it is. Not the party of women and reproductive issues. We have to look at issues for us and what's in our best interest.
With Tim Black.
Generational theft of the wealth of generations of African Americans. And just crossing out a racist policy and replacing it with a neutral one is not enough to deliver equality. Harms compound, just like a dollar saved in its value compounds over time. So does the value of a dollar stolen. And that is why the United States must act immediately with investments in minority-owned businesses, with investments in health equity, with investments in HBCUs, and on the longer term, look at reparations so that we can mend what has been broken.
Vice President Biden, do you support reparations?
Look, let me, since I haven't spoken on this, got a chance. Number one, the reason we're the country we are is because of immigration. We've been able to cherry pick the best from every single continent. The people who come here have determination, resilience. They are ready to stand up and work like the devil. We have 24 out of every 100 children in our school today is Hispanic. The idea that we are going to walk away and not provide every opportunity for them is not only stupid and immoral, but it's bad for America. They are the future of America, and we should invest in them. Everybody will benefit from it, every single American, and you should get used to it. This is a nation of immigrants. That's who we are. That's why we're who we are. That's what makes us different, and we should invest in them.
Thank you, Mr. Biden. Senator Klobuchar, you.
Yeah. To anybody that's calling Nick Cannon a sellout, a traitor, a backstabber, anything else you call him, I want you to square the reality that Joe Biden sat there and told America that Americans are not the priority of the Democratic Party. How can you call Nick Cannon or anybody else, or Tim Black, or anyone else, a sellout for not riding with a party that just told you you're not the priority? Now, if you were a union worker and you're fighting for union rights, a fair wage, hours that make sense, vacation pay, bonuses, whatever you're fighting for, safety, and you knew, and the party sat up there and said, you're not the priority. Your union's not the priority. Your safety's not the priority. No one would say you're a sellout for saying, fuck them. I'm not working with this party. This party just told me that I'm not important. They just told me that's not the priority. This is my priority. They just said I'm not the priority. No one would call you a sellout or a traitor or a coon or any of these other names that black men and black women, and maybe others too, get called. But we talking about black folks, how black folks are treated. Because Nick Cannon is definitely a black man. So we all know, we can agree that if you're a person, you're fighting for unions, you're a union worker, and you want the best interests of your union, that's your primary reason for voting. If a presidential candidate just told you you're not the priority, no one would call you a sellout for not going with it. They would say, in fact, they would just say, that's your right. You have a right to make a choice and to have a priority in your vote. If you were a Jewish American, I'm going to go there. If you were a Jewish American and you were concerned about Israel, you're concerned about the right for Israel to exist, and that was what you were hanging your hat on. And let's say you were a big-time Zionist, and that's what time it was. And you ain't give a damn about what anybody said. It's what you believed. And if a presidential candidate came out on that stage, on that debate stage, and said, you are not the priority. Your country ain't the priority. Your statehood ain't the priority. You have no right to exist. Our priority, the future is this other group. No one would call you a sellout if you said, I'm not rocking with it. I'm making the choice not to support this candidate or this party because this party does not support my goals, my ambitions, or the things I want to vote for. It'd be fine. No one would come for you. In fact, they'd write long think pieces about how treacherous it was for that Democratic candidate to make those statements. I got one more. If you were an immigrant, you came to America, I don't know, and I don't know, because you're not supposed to be able to vote. You're not a citizen, right? So it's kind of weird to do that one, but I'm wondering how, I don't know, maybe you had a presidential candidate that got up there and said, you're not the priority. We're going to focus on other things. We're going to focus on America first. Damn it. And we're going to put Americans back to work, and we're going to worry about our citizens who are up against it. The inflation kicked ass. Inflation was up to 20% under Joe Biden. Now it's at like 6%, and people are losing their mind because it's orange man bad. We were like 7 simultaneous wars under Obama, and half these people were quiet. We go to a couple with Trump, Not saying wars are good, but all of a sudden people develop a conscience. All of a sudden they can't stand war. They were just mad because we weren't funding Ukraine more money. Anyway, the point is this. No one will be calling the immigrants, the new arrivals, sellouts, traitors, backstab, whatever names, because they decided that they didn't want to support a party or join a party that did not support them. And you know where I'm going with this. Why is it Black Americans cannot make choices? Black Americans do not get to decide what's in their best interest. And you know who tells us that? Black Americans who are getting paid by the Democratic Party. Black Americans who are cowards, who kiss the ass of the Democratic Party, who go after other black people for very reasonable differences of opinion, very reasonable self-preservation. The man just told you you weren't the priority, and you better get used to it. He said it with his whole chest. In fact, he took his shirt and his jacket off. Man boobs and all, saggy man boobs and all, and said it with his chest. You better get used to it. They were asking his ass about Black Americans, about foundational Black Americans, about the descendants of slaves. And he said, I've been waiting to talk about this. He leaned all the way in with confidence and told you, kiss his saggy white ass. It's all about them Latinos, the new arrivals. They're Latinos that are citizens. For the record, there are many, 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 many Latino Americans who are citizens of the United States who happen to agree with me. They're concerned about wages going down due to the cost of cheap labor. They don't understand why they had to jump through 8,000 hoops and others get to come here willy-nilly without any friction. So back to Nick Cannon, man, because Nick Cannon's a human being and he gets to decide what party he wants to support. And if you have a party that tells you you're not a priority, who responds to your justice claim by saying, shut up, basically, did a Roland Martin, told us all to shut up. Get in line and get used to it. It ain't about you. The future, the dude said, the future of America is immigrants. He didn't say Black America. Simone Sanders, do you hear me? April Ryan, do you hear me? Jim Clyburn, do you hear me? I mean, am I speaking loud enough? I mean, we understand Van Jones, are you hearing me? These are all the people. Al Sharpton, do you hear me? Roland Martin, do you hear me? These are the people that spent the last, 10 years calling out Black Americans who had the audacity to think for themselves. Who chose not to accept the disrespect and the insults. Whoopi Goldberg, do you hear me? Joy Ann Reid, do you hear me? Don Lemon, do you hear me? They all cowards, none of them will respond. Not a single one of them will respond. They'll make excuses of why. Donna Brazile, do you hear me? Keith Ellison, do you hear me? I've interacted with everybody there that I just named. They won't respond. They won't talk back now. They're quiet. But Corey Sellers, do you hear me? Van Lathan, do you hear me? I'm the bad guy, right? Something wrong with me. Now, nothing's wrong with me. Something's wrong with y'all. Rachel Lindsay, do you hear me? You hear me? Jasmine Crockett, do you hear me? These people spend their time shitting on Jamel Hill. Jamel Hill, do you hear me? Shitting on black Americans who have the courage to do what they don't. Call out the Democratic Party. Only time they even think about calling out the Democratic Party is when one of their friends can't get a fucking job because Jasmine Crockett didn't get a job. What about all the other jobs, you scumbags? What about all the jobs that are going away? The industries that have gone. See, they're concerned about their friends. They're not concerned about the people. Nick Cannon, you are a brother with a backbone. You're a brother that's willing to say how he really feels. That's such a rare commodity. We got your back. We got your back. We support you. We have been supporting you. We will continue to support you. These House Negroes sat there and heard Joe Biden say he wasn't going to do shit for us. They sat there and watched Kamala say, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something for black people. Oh, no, no, no. And they still said we had to vote for, or we weren't black men and women with respect, or we were sellouts if we didn't. They sat there and said we had to vote for Joe Biden when he just said, you ain't the priority, and the future's are the immigrants, not you. And they still, Roland, you should just unplug your servers. Yeah, I'm coming for you so hard these days. Pause. I'm coming at you so hard these days, Roland. Either you're going to have a conversation with me or you're just going to end up unplugging your server. Thank you, Nick Cannon, for calling it out. Let's keep it moving, y'all. Let me know what y'all think about this segment. Was Nick Cannon right or wrong? And does it matter? Because we're in a free country where people get to choose not to support you. We get to choose who we vote for. Every other group of people in this country has agency to make their own decisions electorally about what they're going to support, except us. And then you want to say that the Democratic Party is not the party of the KKK. Shit, they are still the party of the KKK. And I would just add this one last piece. Let's stop having that conversation. Let's talk about where the parties are right now. What we have is one party gives a shit about Americans, cares about how Americans are doing, and the other party cares about the immigrants. It's not a secret. That's their priority. The standard bearer of the Democratic Party is still Joe Biden. That is the agenda of the Democrats. I don't give a shit what his operatives how they try to color this. All right, let's keep it moving, fam.
Catch Tim Black live on the most dangerous show in America, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Don't miss out on the real. Stay dangerous.